The start of every new NBA season presents us with players who have vastly improved and declined from the last, with there always being a group of players who have, quote, breakout seasons. The start of the 2024 NBA season has been no different, and quite a few players in their third seasons, picked in the 2022 NBA draft, have taken their game to another level. In today's video, we'll be discussing a number of players from the 2022 NBA draft who have shown major improvements to start their third seasons and are taking big steps. The first player from this class who has absolutely taken his game to the next level is Dyson Daniels. Daniels has transformed himself from someone who's playing just over 20 minutes a night on the Pels while averaging under 6 points a game to a 15-point per game guy on the Hawks playing 34 minutes a game and looking like a genuine defensive player of the year contender. Daniels leads the league in steals by a mile, with his 3.4 per game leading the league, as well as his 83 deflections leading the league, with the next closest player being De'Aaron Fox with just 52, 31 ahead of the next closest player. Daniels has 44 total steals this year, and the next closest player for that stat is Tari Eason, another player we will talk about, with 29. Daniels has really improved his confidence scoring the ball as well, as even though his three-point shooting continues to be questionable, with him under 30% on the year, Daniels has been more aggressive using his size to score inside the basket. He's also giving Atlanta 5 boards and 3 assists a game, but genuinely, this guy might be the best defender in the league this season. In Atlanta's last game, he denied a De'Aaron Fox game winner, someone who has arguably been the hottest player in basketball in the last week. Overall, Daniels' size, agility, wingspan, and crazy defensive instincts have made him a force on that end, and Daniels has gone from a decent bench player to a current all-defensive team lock, I would say, with some guard skills, and he's someone who's really shown some improvement on the offensive end as well. Another player who has been a menace on defense while also showing some improvement on the offensive end is Tari Eason of the Houston Rockets. In his third year out of LSU, Eason is averaging just under 12 points a game with 6 boards and over 3 stocks a game. Eason has a total of 47 combined steals and blocks in 15 games, playing 23 minutes a night on a deep Rockets team that has started this season well. Eason's 12 points per game have been pretty efficient as well, as he is shooting 53-34 splits. He's another player who still has some questions about his consistency shooting the ball, but Eason is a hybrid of a big and a wing who gets boards, runs the floor, scores near the basket well, and forces tons of turnovers in still decently limited minutes, and is clearly helping his team win games to start this season. Eason and Daniels also past the counting stats, both have some of the on-off stats to back up their cases, both posting great defensive box plus-minus numbers. The next two players are both scorers who have seen their volume and efficiency increase to start the season. The first player is Bennedict Mathurin of the Indiana Pacers. Mathurin played 59 games last year, but his season was cut short from a torn labrum prior to the playoffs. Mathurin played a lot in his first 2 years, but Rick Carlisle had still not made him a part of Indiana's starting lineup. Many thought he would struggle to fit back into a Pacers squad that made a deep playoff run to the conference finals without him, along with the real emergence of Andrew Nembhard that came during that time. That has not been the case though, as through the first 14 games of this season, Mathurin has been on an absolute tear. He's putting up just under 20 a game and 6.7 boards per game in a career-high 31 minutes per night, and Mathurin's efficiency is what has been the most impressive part, as he has a true shooting mark of 61%, which is excellent, and is shooting some great 54, 46, 82 splits on the season so far. That's some insanely efficient scoring, especially for a 22-year-old. There are still a lot of questions with Mathurin about consistency on defense and if he'll pass the ball, but Pacers fans have to be thrilled with his start to year 3. He's already had 6 20-point games and 2 30-point games. Another hyper-athletic guard from this draft class who has some questions surrounding his game is Jaden Ivey. Ivey had a really weird year too, as Monty Williams was clearly not the biggest fan of his game. His points, assists, and minutes per game went down on a dreadful Detroit squad, but now in year 3, under his third coach already in JB Bickerstaff, Ivy is back to playing over 30 minutes a night and being a guaranteed starter for Detroit, and he is averaging 19, 4, and 4 for a Pistons team that has actually been respectable up to this point. With a record of 7 and 9, which in this year's East, if they keep winning at the same rate, will almost definitely earn them a spot in the play-in. His efficiency has continued to not be great, but the 44, 36, 74 splits he's posting aren't necessarily bad, just very average. We know Ivy is a streaky three-point shooter, as he had stretches last year where he shot really well and really poorly, and it's kind of been the same to start this year. He shot 43% in the first 5 games in October, and then in November so far, he's shooting 32% in the 10 games this month. We will see with his shooting, but the improved scoring numbers and efficiency, paired with Detroit actually winning a decent amount of games to start their year, definitely supports the claim that Monty Williams was clearly mismanaging Detroit's 6'4" combo guard. The next player on the list is likely the most under-the-radar one, as he is someone many fans haven't heard much about since college, but Ochai Agbaji is looking like a real player for the Toronto Raptors. After struggling in his brief time with them after being traded mid-season from Utah, Agbaji's year 2 numbers were disappointing after a solid rookie year for the Jazz. Last year between Utah and Toronto, Agbaji averaged 5.8 a game on 41, 29, 66 splits. This was on some pretty inconsistent playing time, but he still did end up playing in a lot of games last year. This year though, playing 32 minutes a game for the Raptors, a squad that's had their fair share of injuries up to this point, he's flourished with his newfound opportunity. He's also taking on more defensive responsibility while putting up 13, 5, and 2 on very nice 52, 45, 70 splits for the Raptors, and looks like he could be a real piece for them. Agbaji's college teammate, Christian Braun, has also seen an increase in minutes and is playing a big role for Denver. Braun is also taking on a lot more defensive responsibility and is putting up 16, 5, and 2 in 35 minutes a night and is shooting lights out from 3 at just under 45%. Braun has stepped up big time with the departure of Kentavious Caldwell-Pope and is a serious most improved player candidate. He's playing 15 minutes more per night, and he looks like a really nice fitting player next to Nikola Jokic, an athletic wing who can cut, doesn't need the ball in his hands, can shoot the ball, and impressively, right behind Jokic, Braun has the 3rd highest on and off differential in the league. Jalen Williams from Santa Clara on the Thunder just continues to get better and better. He's putting up 21, 6, and 5 on 61 true shooting, while getting even better on the defensive end as he's in the 93rd percentile in deflections, in the 81st percentile for defensive box plus minus, and in the 90th percentile for versatility. Also in the 95th percentile for EPM. A player who clearly makes his team a lot better on both ends, but I think we kind of all know how good J-Dub is at this point. One honorable mention is Shaedon Sharpe, who I really like and has had 2 consecutive 30-point games as he recently finally made his return from injury. And the 2 best players from this class, Paolo Banchero and Chet Holmgren, who were both playing great prior to their injuries. Let me know if you think any of these guys could win Most Improved Player this year. And as always, I appreciate y'all for watching, and peace out.